Hi Bowl Bakers! I love a good donut. However, I also love a twist on a traditional recipe. That's why recently I've been testing recipes for savory donuts. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but they're absolutely delicious. And I finally think I've come up with the perfect combination of flavor and texture. So right now I'm going to show you how you can make a cheddar cheese and jalapeno donut. They are out of this world. I also want you to stay tuned to the end of this video because I've got loads more donut recipes to share with you. So into this little jug, we're going to add in our milk and a little bit of butter. Now what we have to do here is just warm up the milk a little bit and melt the butter. I like to do it in the microwave for around 30 seconds. You can also do it on the stovetop. So there you go, our butter is melted. That's all we want, and for the milk to be a little bit lukewarm. Now into this, we're going to crack in our egg and then just whisk this all together. So these are our wet ingredients. Now we're going to get started with our dry ingredients. So this next step I'm going to do on my mixer. You can also do this by hand and it's actually pretty easy. So into this I'm going to add in my white flour, a little bit of sugar, salt, and then instant yeast. And then what I want to do is just give this a quick mix. I just want to make sure that the yeast and the salt are well combined and the sugar. Okay, lovely. Now we're going to add in our flavors. So here I have some cheddar cheese. I love red cheddar. For some reason, I think it has different flavor than yellow cheddar. However, it doesn't. It's just a food coloring. We're going to add that in. As you can see, I'm using a lot of cheddar. And then next I add in chopped jalapenos. Now you can use as many or as little of these as you like. I use roughly around 3 or so. Honestly, be generous with it because it really does make a difference. Okay, so we've got everything good to go. I'm just going to raise that up. I'm going to turn on my machine and then I'm going to add in my wet ingredients. Now you know I often say hold back a little bit of the wet ingredients because you might not need it all. So this is a softer dough, so you might notice it doesn't clean the bowl as much, but that's totally fine. If you want to hold back a little bit of the liquid, you can. And then all you want to do is just let this knead away for maybe like 3 to 4 minutes or so on low speed, and just let the yeast activate and for the machine to do its job. Okay, this is looking perfect. It looks a lot wetter than it actually is. It's not a very wet dough. And I'm just going to turn this out onto my floured surface. So when you make this dough, you'll feel that it is a really lovely dough to work with. It's nice and soft. What I like to do is just give it a quick knead on the countertop, just to kind of bring it all together and make it nice and smooth, just for like a minute or two. And it just helps to tighten the dough a little bit and form that ball. Lovely. And then what I'm going to do is pop it into my bowl that has been rubbed with a little bit of oil. So now I'm just going to lay over a bit of cling wrap and a nice clean tea towel. Make sure no air gets at our dough. And what we want to do is set it aside to proof for roughly an hour to an hour and a half. We want it to double in size and get nice and big. So I gave my dough the full hour and a half to proof and it's looking great. So as you can see, it's doubled in size. It is a little bit of a heavier dough, so it might take a little bit longer to proof, but this is perfect. And also it's not wet, it's a really nice texture. So I'm just going to flour my surface a little bit and then turn out my dough. Now you can pat it or you can roll it, but you want to get it to around 1/2 inch thick. You do want nice thick donuts. So here I have my cutters, a 3-inch cutter and a 1.5-inch cutter. This is going to be our donut cutter. And what I want to do is just go ahead and stamp out your donuts. And make sure you save the little donut holes because we're also going to cook those off because they're delicious. So this dough will make around 8 donuts. And then of course you get all the donut holes. And don't be afraid to fold over your dough again to make new donuts. That's totally fine. Just keep on going until you've used up all your dough. And if you have a little bit extra, then just make extra donut holes. Okay, perfect. So these little guys need to proof. So I'm going to lay over some cling wrap and then our tea towel. I'm just going to set these aside for roughly 25-30 minutes or so. Let them puff up a little bit. They kind of get rounded on the edges and then we're ready to cook them off. So I gave my donuts a full half hour and I can tell when they're done when the edges have kind of softened and they're nice and round. So they don't have that kind of fresh cut look like they did half an hour ago. They're nice and puffy, they're risen, and these are good to go. That's fantastic. So let your oil heat up for a few minutes before you add anything in there. I have my heat on a medium to medium low heat. You want to make sure that it's not too hot because your donuts will cook on the outside and be raw in the middle. So you want to get a good steady heat going. And what I do to test it is I take a little donut hole and I just cook one little guy off first. And it's just a good indication if it's too hot or if it's too cold. It's going to take roughly, for the little donut hole, around 1.5 minutes on each side. You just don't want it to go brown really fast on the outside. That means your oil is too hot. But this oil is looking really good. So I'm going to take out my little donut hole and then I'm going to carefully place in my donuts. I'm just going to do 4 at a time. So roughly what you want to do is cook your donuts around 2 minutes on each side. And just let them slowly simmer away there in the oil and start to get nice and brown. So when frying with oil, I always recommend if you need help, then definitely ask for it because it gets very hot and can kind of spit. So these are lovely golden brown on both sides. So now I'm just going to lay them on my cooling rack and just let any excess oil drip off them. These are looking awesome. They're a lovely golden brown. They're not too dark in color. And I know that they're lovely and fluffy on the inside. So just do your donuts in 2 batches, just not to overcrowd your pan. And then last but not least, cook off your donut holes. Those little guys will take a little bit less time than the bigger donuts. So there's not many things better than a freshly cooked homemade donut. And I'm going to try this one right here. Oh my gosh, look. Actually, come here to me. I want you to look on the inside. Do you see that? See all the cheese and jalapenos and how bubbly it is? Absolutely gorgeous. And it's perfectly cooked. Like I said, don't have your oil too hot. And you'll get a nice light golden brown on the outside and a nice soft, fluffy inside. Oh my gosh. You can hear how crispy they are. I did wonder what they were going to turn out like, but it's fresh dough loaded with cheese and jalapenos. Homemade, absolutely divine. I hope you enjoyed this video, but I don't want you to go anywhere because I've got lots more donut videos for you to watch.